Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring Disaster or Peace, the Magical Girl role-playing game. If you haven't seen the other parts of this review, featuring this Magical Girl anime manga style of experience, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about teamwork. Let's talk about setting up an action first. You use your action to set up a teammate's next action roll. If you succeed, that teammate gets a bonus effect level for that next action. Limited becomes standard, standard becomes greater. Essentially, they will do better than their roll result would normally allow. When it comes to leading a group action, when you need to be sure everyone succeeds in the same task, you can lead a group action. Everyone rolls the same action, and everyone gets to take the highest result rolled between everyone. However, the group action leader must mark off one bond with each teammate who fails their roll. If you have no bonds to spend, you must take a point of darkness instead. It's not easy to cover up for slackers. Then we have combined powers. If two or more characters each have one bond with one another to spend, you can combine your magical powers to make a unique combo attack. You describe how your powers combine to take the following bonuses. You both roll a number of dice equal to the higher magical power stat used, counting only the highest die between you. You get a bonus to effect, and you can resist any consequences from a failure without risk of taking a point of darkness. Now, when it comes to clearing obstacles and defeating enemies with the power of clocks, many obstacles can be resolved with a single roll. For instance, asking a non-player character you are friendly with for help can be done with a single social action roll, no clock needed. This is always subject to the narrative and the game master's discretion. For larger issues, everything from overcoming significant challenges to convincing someone to help when they really don't want to, or battling enemies, is handled with challenge clocks. The game master determines how big the challenge is versus the player character's or team's current skill, or the magnitude of the situation, and then appoints a 4, 6, 8 or 12 part challenge clock to it. A 4-part clock is an easy challenge, and a 12-part clock is a monumental challenge. Multiple clocks may be running at the same time. You may need to fill one clock before a competing clock is filled to succeed at your goal, or you may need to fill one clock to unlock the next clock that needs to be defeated for challenges with multiple parts. Clocks are, of course, excellent to represent scaling problems or race against time sort of situations. Enemies in this game have clocks that must be filled to weaken them before you can use a finishing move and defeat them in the traditional Magical Girl style. Now, when it comes to from sun to eclipse, when you feel that your best won't be good enough, you can choose to roll a dark die. This is another d6, but it is special. If your dark die is your highest die rolled, you mark a point of darkness on your shine track. When your shine track is filled, you will eclipse. When you eclipse, you stop holding back and mark a level of ascension. When you mark your third eclipse, your character achieves their total eclipse, unlocking their third and final ascension. Doing so fulfills their destiny, sacrifices all of their magical powers of transformation, and effects a significant change in the game world. After their final ascension, a player character may continue on as a human until the entire team has fulfilled their destiny, or the player may choose to bring in a new player character to take their place. Now, when it comes to stop holding back and ascend, when you stop holding back, you reset the position and effect of the situation for your whole team to controlled or standard regardless of the power of your enemy, and your next action succeeds as though you had rolled a critical success. When you ascend, you also unlock a new level of power, making you more potent against bigger threats. Your ascendant ability, determined when you choose your transformed archetype, also becomes more powerful and gains new features with each ascension. Maybe this new level of power will change your transformation sequence, your item, your outfit, your phrases. When it comes to conditions, there will be times when you are hurt, distracted, or overwhelmed. There are a great many conditions that can affect your character, and when they are not successfully resisted, you'll need to check off the condition that most closely matches the situation. When it comes to resisting conditions, every time you are faced with taking some kind of harm, you'll be asked to make a resistance roll. This will be your body, mind, or spirit dice pools, depending on the attack. When this happens, you'll roll a number of light dice equal to the total points in the action ratings under the primary stat you are using to resist. You cannot gain extra dice for a resistance roll. And depending on your roll, you will be able to resist that condition, perhaps even making a bond with one of your teammates. Maybe you will take a condition, or maybe you will take a condition and add a point of darkness to the shine track on your character sheet. Now, concerning taking a condition, when you take conditions, they affect your ability to perform. Each primary stat, body, mind, spirit, has its own conditions list on your character sheet, and the more conditions that you take, the more penalties you suffer when rolling action ratings, attacks, and even resistances. If you ever suffer too many conditions of any one kind, that is body, mind, or spirit, you will become too weak to maintain your transformation or transform again until you've cleared some of your conditions. For example, in the case of body, maybe you are bruised or battered or bleeding or broken. In the case of mind, maybe you are anxious, unsteady, overwhelmed, or drained. In the case of spirit, maybe you are deceived, sad, scarred, or unsure. Now, concerning phases of gameplay, 3 phases of gameplay exist to help you cut out the boring parts of your gameplay. You are encouraged to skip travel, detailed planning, and just about anything else that slows down the beating heart of the game. When it comes to the day phase, during this phase you are in free play. You create a vignette of your daily lives. Perhaps you're in class or are on vacation. During this phase, you are interacting with each other and the world. This is also when you will get your first sense that something is wrong and have an opportunity to investigate the matter before the sun sets. Once everyone has explored everything they wish to explore in free play, you get to skip straight to the night phase. The night phase is where the action happens. Something has gone wrong, and now you need to clean up the mess. You will begin your night phase already in the thick of the action. An engagement roll at the very beginning of the phase will determine how bad things are when you arrive on the scene. If you investigated the mystery, you roll a single d6. If you decided not to investigate, you roll 2 6-sided dice and take the lower result. You compare the result to a chart to determine what you're up against. Maybe the starting situation is desperate. People are already harmed. The enemy has the drop on you, or something else is catastrophically wrong. Or perhaps the starting situation is risky. The enemy knows you are coming. Someone you care about is already trapped in the unfolding situation, or something else is a clear and looming threat. Or perhaps the starting situation is controlled. You have the drop on the enemy. The area is clear of any civilians, or you have control of the higher ground. You are not in any immediate danger. Now, concerning picking up the pieces, when the threat has ended, the scene cuts and moves on to the pick up the pieces phase. This may be burning off steam at the arcade, grabbing a bite to eat at your favorite restaurant, or visiting the bedside of a friend who was caught in a crossfire of the prior night's events. You may spend time uncovering truths hidden from you, working on a project, or be forced to deal with issues of the real world as a consequence of the night's events. Narratively speaking, this can take place immediately after the night scene or days later. When you pick up the pieces, you can gain or lose bonds, clear or gain darkness, clear or gain conditions, dig for the truth, or work on a long-term project. You can also select 2 moves from a list, such as spending time together. You gain 1 bond with everyone who takes this move with you, and also remove 2 conditions or 1 darkness. Maybe the move is tell them how you feel. You gain 1 bond with everyone who takes this move with you, and also remove 2 darkness or 1 condition. You could also dig for the truth. You can spend a move to uncover the truth about the world. Tell the game master what you are trying to discover and what you are doing to discover it. You'll make the appropriate action roll, and the game master will reveal the mystery based on the outcome. Even a 1, 2, or 3 result should yield something interesting or potentially useful. And these are just examples of the things that you can do with these moves. Once you have spent your 2 moves, you can also buy additional actions at a cost. For example, take it out on them. Burn one bond for everyone you take it out on, and clear an equal number of conditions. Or perhaps you dwell on the past. For everyone who helps you, you take one bond with them, but also take one darkness. They may choose to take one bond with you at the cost of one darkness. Concerning gaining new powers, at the start of the first game, you will have some action rating dots and some magical abilities, but you'll have a lot of growing up to do in order to fulfill your destinies. It takes a total of 5 experience points to gain a new magical ability or action rating dot. At the end of each game, after you picked up the pieces, you'll determine how much experience points you earned by answering a few questions. At the end of each session, for each item that occurred from a small list, you mark 1 experience point on your character sheet for a maximum of 3 experience points per game session. So for example, maybe you addressed the challenge with your magical abilities, or maybe you expressed your feelings, beliefs, or history. When your experience point track is filled, take 1 new magical ability or action rating dot. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to talk about character creation. I really like the teamwork mechanic. It's perfect to represent those combined attack moments that you would see in anime and manga when 2 or more characters are shooting out this powerful blast of magical energy, or they are bending reality and space and time together, putting their powers for this single objective to destroy an enemy or to injure some sort of monstrous being, or perhaps to deal with some major hazard like a huge fire or an earthquake or something like that. I also really like how the characters evolve with their bonds, how they gain experience points, how they carry on with their everyday lives outside of their role as protectors of the world or the universe. I also like it how you can add a bit of drama or conflict or tensions between the members of the party to get rid of darkness and conditions, but at the same time you are eroding or damaging the bonds with the rest of the party. So you need to make sure that the next time you are able to use your 2 moves, you want to repair or strengthen those bonds. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.